Your dog is sound asleep on the couch. Suddenly, their paws start paddling as if running through an invisible field. Their nose twitches. A muffled bark escapes their throat. You smile and think they're chasing rabbits again. But here's the thing, you're probably wrong about what they're actually experiencing. For decades, we've watched our dogs twitch and whimper in their sleep, making assumptions about their dreams based on what we would dream about. We see the running legs and assume squirrels. We hear the quiet growl and think intruders. But dogs don't experience the world the way we do when they're awake, so why would we assume their dreams mirror ours? What if your dog's dreams are fundamentally different from anything you could imagine? What if the movie playing in their sleeping mind is shot in colors you've never seen, filled with sensations you've never felt, and constructed by a brain that prioritizes completely different information than yours does? Scientists have been piecing together this puzzle, and what they have discovered challenges everything we thought we knew about what happens inside a dog's mind during those twitching, running, whimpering moments. They found ways to peek into the canine subconscious, to decode the neural language of dog dreams, and the results are both familiar and utterly alien. Here's what's really happening when your dog dreams. To understand dog dreams, we need to start in 2001 at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where researchers were about to prove something that would change how we think about animal consciousness forever. They took a group of rats and had them run through mazes all day long. Nothing particularly revolutionary there, but what they did next was extraordinary. The scientists monitored the electrical activity in the rats' brains while they navigated the mazes, creating detailed maps of which neurons fired in which patterns as the rats made turns, found dead ends, and eventually located the food reward. Then they let the rats sleep while continuing to monitor their brain activity. During REM sleep, that's rapid eye movement sleep, the stage where most vivid dreaming occurs, something remarkable happened. The exact same neural patterns that fired when the rats were running the maze began firing again. Not similar patterns, the same patterns. The researchers could actually tell which part of the maze the rats were dreaming about and whether they were standing still or moving in their dream. The rats were mentally replaying their day frame by frame. This study confirmed what many suspected but couldn't prove. Animals dream, and they dream about their actual experiences. Dogs, with their more complex brains and longer evolutionary partnership with humans, almost certainly do the same thing. But proving dogs dream wasn't enough for researchers. They wanted to see the dreams themselves. This is where the experiments got creative. And more than a little strange. Inside your dog's brainstem sits a structure called the pons. It's a small but crucial piece of neural machinery that has one primary job during sleep: paralyzing your dog's large muscles so they don't physically act out whatever's happening in their dreams. This is the same mechanism that keeps you from actually punching someone when you dream about a fight, or running when you dream about being chased. In puppies, this system isn't fully developed yet, which explains why young dogs are so active during sleep, twitching and paddling far more than adults. In senior dogs, the pons becomes less efficient with age, which is why older dogs often return to that puppy-like movement during dreams. But what would happen if you temporarily disabled the pons in adult dogs under carefully controlled laboratory conditions? Researchers did exactly that with pointer dogs, a hunting breed known for their distinctive behavior of freezing and extending one paw toward game birds. When the pons was deactivated during REM sleep, the pointers began acting out their dreams while still unconscious. And what did they do? They pointed. They went into their characteristic hunting stance, freezing mid-dream to point at birds that existed only in their sleeping minds. When the same experiment was repeated with Doberman's guard dogs bred for protection, the dogs displayed guard behaviors, moving as if chasing away dream intruders. Spaniels flushed out imaginary birds. Retrievers went through the motions of fetching invisible balls. Stanley Coren, a professor emeritus of psychology at the University of British Columbia, who conducted much of this research, put it simply: dogs dream doggy things. The dream pattern in dogs follows the same structure as human dreams. They're processing their daily experiences, replaying significant moments, and consolidating memories. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. The frequency and length of these dreams isn't random. It follows a pattern that nobody expected. A Chihuahua and a Great Dane living in the same house, experiencing the same day, will have radically different dream schedules that night. The Chihuahua might have a new dream every 10 minutes. The Great Dane might only dream once every hour to 90 minutes. But here's the twist. While the Chihuahua's dreams are frequent, they last only about a minute each. The Great Dane's rare dreams might stretch for 5 to 10 minutes. Research by Stanley Korn revealed this unexpected pattern. Small dogs have more frequent but shorter dreams, while large dogs have fewer but longer dreams. A toy poodle might experience 6 dreams in the hour that a Labrador retriever has just 1. But that single Labrador dream contains roughly the same amount of dream time as all 6 poodle dreams combined. Why? The honest answer is, we don't fully know, but it likely relates to how different-sized brains process information and how much sleep each size requires. Large dogs that have active days tend to sleep more deeply and enter longer REM phases, giving them more time to dream. Smaller dogs cycle through sleep stages more rapidly. This has a fascinating implication. Your dog's size literally determines their dream life's rhythm and structure. 2 dogs lying side by side on your bed are experiencing sleep in fundamentally different ways based purely on their physical dimensions. But the differences don't stop there. What those dreams actually look like, the visual experience of being inside a dog's dream, is where things get really alien. When humans dream, we dream in the full spectrum of colors we see while awake. Our dream memories of red roses, green grass, and blue skies match our waking experience. But dogs don't see the world in full color when they're awake, which means their dreams can't be full color either. Dogs are dichromats. They have 2 types of color-detecting cone cells in their retinas instead of the 3 that humans possess. This isn't black and white vision, as the old myth claimed, but it's not the rainbow we experience either. Dogs primarily see in yellows and blues, with a range of grays in between. What we perceive as red looks like dark brown or muddy gray to a dog. Green grass appears yellowish or tan. That bright red ball you throw in the green backyard? To your dog, it's a dark blob on a yellowish surface. They're probably finding it more by movement and smell than by color contrast. This means when your dog dreams about chasing that ball, the visual component of their dream is rendered in this muted palette. The dream grass isn't green, it's a dull yellow tan. The dream sky might be blue. Dogs can see blue, but the dream flowers are washed out grays and browns where you'd see reds and oranges. But the color limitation is only part of the story. Dogs also have significantly worse visual acuity than humans. While humans with perfect vision have 20/20 vision, dogs average about 20/75 vision. This means a dog needs to be 20 feet away from an object to see it as clearly as a human standing 75 feet away. So not only are their dreams less colorful, they're also blurrier than ours would be. The dream version of their favorite human's face lacks the sharp detail we'd experience in our dreams. It's softer, less defined around the edges. However, and this is crucial, dogs excel at detecting motion. They can perceive movement far better than humans can, thanks to having more rod cells in their retinas. Their motion detection is so sensitive that they can spot the flicker in a light bulb that humans can't see. This translates to dreams where movement is hyperreal, where the subtle shift of a squirrel's tail or the trajectory of a thrown ball is rendered in remarkable, flowing detail, even if the color and focus are compromised. And at night, dogs have superior night vision, thanks to a special reflective layer called the tapetum lucidum. That's what makes their eyes glow in photos. So, if your dog is dreaming about a nighttime walk, that dream likely has clarity and visibility that would seem supernatural to us. But here's what might be the most astonishing discovery about dog dreams, something that neuroscientists only confirmed in the last few years. Dogs might not be dreaming primarily in visuals at all. In 2022, researchers at Cornell University made a discovery that fundamentally changed our understanding of how dogs perceive their world. Using advanced MRI diffusion tensor imaging, they found a neural connection in dog brains that doesn't exist in human brains. A direct highway between the olfactory bulb, which processes smell, and the occipital lobe, which processes vision. Let me state that clearly. Dogs have a hardwired connection between their smell center and their visual center that we don't have, and that hasn't been documented in any other species. This suggests that smell and vision are integrated in dogs in a way we literally cannot comprehend. Dogs possess approximately 300 million olfactory receptors. Humans have around 6 million. This isn't just a quantitative difference, it's a different reality. Dogs can detect scents at concentrations 100,000 times lower than what humans can perceive. They can smell your hormonal changes, your emotional states, individual raindrops. A significant portion of a dog's brain is dedicated to processing smells, far more than the portion we dedicate to visual processing. When a dog walks into a room, they're not primarily using their eyes to map the space like we do. They're using their nose, which feeds directly into their visual cortex. The room exists to them as a combined sensation that we've never experienced, simultaneously seeing and smelling the same information through integrated neural pathways. Now, apply this to dreams. When researchers examined where dogs' brains lit up during sleep, they found intense activity not just in visual areas, but throughout the olfactory system. The amygdala, responsible for emotional responses, showed particularly strong activation, and it's intimately connected to smell processing. Studies at Emory University in Atlanta found that when dogs were exposed to their owner's scent, their emotional response was stronger than to any other stimulus, including the sense of other familiar humans or animals. So, what does this mean for their dreams? When your dog is dreaming about you, they're not just seeing a visual representation of your face like you'd see in your dreams. They're experiencing an integrated sensory memory where your visual appearance is inseparable from your scent signature. The dream of you includes the smell of your skin, your shampoo, the specific hormonal fingerprint you leave on everything you touch. These aren't separate sensory inputs being remembered. They're fused into a single experience. When your Labrador dreams about fetching a ball, yes, they see it in their muted yellow and blue palette, but they also experience the rubber smell of the ball, the grass scent compressed under their paws, your excitement, scent in the air, the saliva-softened texture smell from the last time they held it. The dream is olfactory and visual at once, processed through neural pathways we don't possess. Mark Bekoff, professor emeritus of ecology and evolutionary biology at the University of Colorado, suggested that when dogs dream, they might be experiencing primarily a world of smells rather than images. The visual component might be secondary to the olfactory experience. Their dreams might be more like watching a movie where you can smell every scene in vivid, emotionally loaded detail that shapes the entire narrative. This raises a question you've probably never considered. When your dog's nose twitches during sleep, are they navigating a scent map in their dream? Are they following a smell trail through their unconscious mind? Dr. Deirdre Barrett, a clinical and evolutionary psychologist at Harvard Medical School, has researched animal dreams extensively. Her conclusion about what dogs dream about is both simple and profound. Since dogs are generally extremely attached to their human owners, it's likely your dog is dreaming of your face, your smell, and of pleasing or annoying you. Your dog doesn't dream about abstract concepts. They can't conjure monsters or fantastical scenarios. Their dreams are limited to their actual experiences, processed through their unique sensory systems. But within those limitations, you are likely the star of many of their dreams. Think about your dog's daily life. The moments that produce the strongest emotions are almost always connected to you. Your arrivals and departures, meal times you provide, play sessions you initiate, walks you take together, praise and correction you deliver. These emotionally significant moments are exactly what gets consolidated into long-term memory during sleep. When researchers monitored brain activity during dog dreams and compared it to their waking neural patterns, they could identify when dogs were likely dreaming about specific activities. The patterns suggested dreams about eating, playing, interacting with their humans, and exploring familiar environments. Your dog probably dreams about the walk you took that morning, but the dream isn't a documentary replay. Like human dreams, dog dreams are more visual and less logical than reality, combining elements in sometimes nonsensical ways. Your dog might dream about fetching a ball in your backyard while simultaneously being at the park, or greeting you at the door while also lying in their bed. The breed-specific elements add another layer. That Doberman dreams about guarding. That Pointer dreams about hunting. But they're guarding you, hunting with you, performing their breed-specific behaviors in the context of their relationship with you. And the emotional component, filtered through that smell-emotion connection in the amygdala, means these dreams carry strong feelings. The dream of you coming home produces the same anticipatory excitement they feel when they actually hear your key in the door. The dream of displeasing you might produce anxiety similar to the real thing. This emotional reality of their dreams raises an uncomfortable question. What happens when the dreams aren't good? Dogs can have nightmares. That's not speculation. It's an established fact. And unlike the pleasant dreams of chasing dream balls or greeting Dream You, nightmares are processed through the same olfactory emotional centers with the same intensity. A dog that experienced trauma, whether major abuse or something as mundane as a scary veterinary visit, carries that memory. During sleep, when the brain processes and files away experiences, that traumatic memory might resurface. The dog might relive the experience, smelling the fear scents they produced, seeing the blurred threats, feeling the panic. You can usually tell when a dog is having a nightmare rather than a regular dream. The vocalizations are different, more distressed whimpering or fearful whining, rather than the excited yips of a happy dream. The body language shows stress, tucked posture even while lying down, rapid breathing, sometimes even snarling or aggressive movements. This is where understanding sleep stages becomes critical. Most nightmares occur during REM sleep, just like regular dreams. But dogs can also experience something called night terrors, which are different. Night terrors happen during transitions between sleep stages, not during REM. A dog experiencing a night terror might thrash, violently growl, even snap at the air, but they won't remember it when they wake up because it's not actually a dream. It's a sudden, fearful reaction during a sleep transition. The distinction matters because the appropriate response is different. With nightmares, the old advice, "let sleeping dogs lie," is absolutely correct, but not for the gentle reasons you might think. When you wake someone from a nightmare, there's a moment of disorientation where they don't remember where they are or who's near them. For humans, this usually just means a startled moment. For dogs, it can mean aggression. A dog woken suddenly from a nightmare might bite before they're fully conscious and recognize you, especially if the nightmare involved a threat. This is particularly dangerous with children, who instinctively want to comfort a distressed pet. The best response to a dog's nightmare is to wait it out. Nightmares rarely last more than a minute or two. The dog will wake up naturally, often startled but quickly recognizing they're safe. Then you can offer comfort. If the nightmare seems severe, violent thrashing, prolonged distress, you can try to wake the dog with your voice from a distance. Call their name repeatedly, increasing in volume. Never touch them until they're clearly conscious and aware of their surroundings. But here's something that surprises many dog owners. Frequent or intense nightmares aren't just an emotional concern. They can be a medical one. There's a condition called REM sleep behavior disorder where the pons fails to properly paralyze muscles during REM sleep. Dogs with this disorder don't just twitch, they act out dreams violently, running full speed into walls, attacking furniture, moving as if they're in a fight. This is different from a healthy dog moving during dreams. It's excessive, violent, and can cause real injuries. It's more common in puppies with underdeveloped nervous systems and in senior dogs where the pons is deteriorating, but it can also indicate neurological problems at any age. Similarly, if your dog suddenly starts having frequent nightmares when they didn't before, it's worth considering whether something changed. A new stress in their environment, a painful medical condition disrupting sleep, or cognitive decline in older dogs can all manifest as increased nightmare frequency. The puppies and seniors pattern appears again here too. Young puppies, still processing an overwhelming amount of new information and lacking a fully developed pons, can have very active and sometimes distressed sleep. Senior dogs, particularly those developing canine cognitive dysfunction, essentially dog dementia, often experience disrupted sleep patterns with more nightmares, as their ability to properly file and process memories deteriorates. So now we can put together the full picture of what happens when your dog sleeps. About 20 minutes after they close their eyes and drift off, they enter REM sleep for the first time. Their breathing becomes irregular. Their eyes begin moving rapidly beneath their closed lids. If they're a Chihuahua, they'll spend perhaps a minute in this dream state before cycling back to deeper, non-REM sleep. If they're a Great Dane, this first dream might last 5 minutes. The content is probably drawn from recent significant experiences. The walk this morning, your return home this afternoon, the exciting moment when you opened the treat bag. The visual experience is rendered in yellows, blues, and grays, somewhat blurry, but with movement that's hyper-real in its fluidity and detail. But the visual component might be secondary to the olfactory experience. A rich scent landscape of emotional memories where your smell dominates because you dominate their waking life. Their pawns keeps their large muscles paralyzed, but small twitches leak through. Paws paddling, nose twitching, jaw movements suggesting they're dream eating or dream barking. If they're young or old, more movement breaks through the suppression. They cycle through REM and non-REM stages 15 to 20 times through a full sleep period compared to the 4 or 5 cycles humans experience. Each REM period is another dream, another processing session, another consolidation of memories and experiences. Physically, they're lying on your couch or in their bed. But mentally, they're living through a sensory experience we can barely conceptualize, a fusion of sight and smell, memory and emotion, processing their day through neural pathways we don't possess, in colors we can't see, filled with scents we can't detect, all while paralyzed except for the small movements that leak through and let us glimpse what's happening in that alien consciousness. And when they wake up, they probably don't remember the dreams clearly, just like we rarely remember ours. But the processing happened. The memories were consolidated, the emotions were filed away. The bond with you was reinforced, etched a little deeper into their neural architecture through repeated dreaming of your face, your scent, your presence in their life. The next time you see your dog's paws paddling during sleep, you'll know that something far more complex than chasing rabbits is happening. You're watching a brain process the world through sensory channels you don't have, consolidate memories using neural pathways you don't possess, and experience a reality that's simultaneously less colorful and more richly scented than anything in your dreams. You're watching an alien intelligence, one that evolved alongside us but remained fundamentally different. Sorting through their day, and probably spending a significant portion of that time dreaming about you. Not the perfect visual image of you that you see in the mirror, but a full sensory impression where your scent is inseparable from your appearance, where your emotional signature is hardwired to your identity, where you exist as the most important presence in their processed reality. Dogs have been our companions for tens of thousands of years, but we're only now beginning to understand how they actually experience existence, both waking and sleeping. Every new study reveals how much we've been projecting our own sensory experience onto creatures who live in a fundamentally different perceptual universe. The twitching, the running legs, the quiet woofs, they're windows into a consciousness that dreams in olfactory technicolor, processes emotions through scent memory pathways, and builds its entire reality around a sensory hierarchy that puts smell first and vision second. And at the center of that dreaming mind, recurring through sleep cycle after sleep cycle, is you. Your scent, your face, your presence. You exist in your dog's dreams not as you imagine yourself, but as they experience you, as the most emotionally significant, scent-marked, movement-detected presence in their integrated sensory world. The next time your dog wakes from a dream and looks at you, remember they've just been spending time with Dream You, processing their memories of you through neural systems we're only beginning to understand. Maybe give them an extra pat, knowing that you're probably starring in their dreams tonight. If you learned something new today about what really happens inside your dog's dreaming mind, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe to see more deep dives into animal cognition and the science behind our pets' mysterious behaviors. And thanks for watching. Now you'll never look at a sleeping dog quite the same way again.